Before we start the show, just a word from our sponsor, Undeniable Press. For all your screen printing needs, located in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan. If you ever need any t-shirts or any other little promo accessories, posters, or whatnot printed up for you, go to Undeniable Press. They're located, once again, in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan, and you can reach them at facebook.com/undeniablepressdetroit. And those same guys who do Undeniable Press also have a clothing line called 20 by 20 Apparel. It's very much wrestling themed, all sorts of nostalgic themes in regards to the history of wrestling. And you can go check out their clothing line at 20x20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. Now let's start the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it tomorrow. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. Until I'm running out of breath, or tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddammit, we fresh. Fresh, fresh, goddammit, we so damn fresh.
Welcome to the Fresh of the Word podcast, the podcast about music, pro wrestling, and MMA. I am your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. And like always, we have a great show coming up for you today. This week's guest is Demi, one of the members of the Queens, New York-based alternative hip-hop band, the OXYMORRONS. We talked about the band, their new single called What's My Name, but also Demi is long been practiced in various skills in the martial arts. So we talk about that, along with pro wrestling in the UFC, all that sorts of jazz. But before we get to the interview with Demi, just to remind you a few ways you can support the podcast. You can go to freshasthepodcast.com and just share any links that are on that website to on any of your social media. If you click on the link at the top of the page that says support the podcast, there's a PayPal link you can donate to. Then there's also a Amazon link that you can use. If you ever make any purchases on Amazon, use that link and it'll give me a few pennies back on your purchase. It doesn't change anything on your end, but it just helps out the show a little bit. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at freshastheword1. That's fresh as the word number 1. And then on Facebook at facebook.com/freshasthepodcast and give it a like ski, okay? And you can also subscribe to Fresh as the Word at Stitcher and on iTunes. Just search Fresh as the Word and the podcast come up. And if you like it, please give us a 5-star rating and a great comment. If I see any comments on there, I'll definitely read it on the show. It'll definitely help out with the podcast also, with our placement and everything. So please, please, please do me a favor and share the podcast. We have a lot of great shows coming up, a lot of great guests. Have a lot of great guests in the canon already. So definitely, appreciate anyone that's listening to the podcast thus far. So let's get to the interview with Demi from OXYMORRONS. Thanks for taking the time out to do this interview with me.
Nah, no problem, man, dude. All that stuff when Chrissy mentioned it to me, I was like, how's yeah, let's do this. Definitely into that kind of shit. So I'm like, what the hell's yeah? This beats any other interview I'd probably end up getting anyway. Either way, I like it.
Right. Yeah. She said that you're heavily into mixed martial arts and watching MMA and also pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I've been kind of perusing the band's Facebook page, and before we get into any of that, what I want to talk about is like you guys post a lot of things #geek life. What is geek life for you guys?
Geek life for us is it's more of like a state of mind. With us, it's not just geek or dweeb, the normal context. For us, it's pretty much anyone who's extremely over the top passionate in what you do. Whether you're sweeping the floor or selling peanuts in Manhattan, it doesn't have to be anything luxurious. But if you're geeked out about it, you're excited, you're happy, you love it, and you push forward all the time, you're kind of geeked out, and that's where geek life comes from.
Great. Yeah, and when you said just over the top and passionate, that's what it kind of fits into, like, the sound of the band. It kind of goes a lot of different ways. How'd you guys come about, developing that sound?
It just kind of happened. It wasn't more of we grew up listening to a lot of different genres and playing a lot of different music and being inspired by a lot of different things, and we never wanted to put ourselves in a box. So we just simply went for it and was like, hey, let's mix everything that we know about music and everything we love about music into one. And the only criteria is if it sounds good, it feels good, then it's good.
Who are some of the artists that you grew up listening to?
Wow. From anywhere from my dad, like, introducing me to, like, Billy Joel, Queen. Queen is my favorite band of all time. I love Freddie Mercury.
Okay.
Lionel Richie, that kind of stuff. And then like NERD, Blink-182, all that stuff. Then from your hip hop understands like Method Man, obviously like your Kanye's, your across the board. It's pretty much all over the place what we grew up listening to. Pretty much, that's why the music kind of sounds like that.
Great. Yeah, last week you guys dropped a new single called "What's My Name." What's behind this song?
What's My Name is cool. It's behind. The thing with What's My Name is kind of us unapologetically just boasting who we are and what we do. There's hurdles and struggles being genreless in an industry that needs to put you in a box.
Right.
And with this new project that we're going to be releasing, we want to make the bold statement that, hey, these black kids rock and we're here to stay. And we're not going anywhere. And regardless of what kind of box you want to put us in, you're always going to remember our name because we're going to do things our way, and it's going to be exciting, it's going to be big, and you're going to love it.
Do you think there is anybody out there? Do you think there is, seeds being planted where sort of a band-oriented, a rock-oriented, artist can touch the, more of the black community?
Yeah, there's definitely room for it. I think the industry in itself, and rock music in itself was whitewashed a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
And I just believe that the genre in itself should be a little bit more diverse. But I definitely do think there is a surge in it changing. We're catalyzing that a little bit of that surge, and I think it's going to come through people understanding that urban music or black music isn't just hip hop.
Do you think people from the black community feel that rock music is a white music?
Yeah, we get that all the time. we hear that all the time. And the thing, even with the like let's say the name of the album is going to be Gateway Drug that we're going to be releasing, and we call it Gateway Drug because throughout touring last year, almost the entire year last year, and already starting to tour this year, what we're hearing when we go into markets and being exposed to people who haven't seen us before is like, holy shit, I don't like hip hop, but I love you guys, or like so I'll give hip hop a chance now, or I don't like rock music, but I really, really love you guys. So I'll give rock a chance now. A lot from urban kids, and for them, it's more so what they've been exposed to. A lot of the younger generation weren't exposed to multi genres. A lot of time when you think about it, majority of the music that you're hearing from anything urban is trap music now. Not to knock on trap, I love trap music.
Right.
I have fun. I enjoy that shit. Like I don't knock it, but to have an industry that's pointing the gun or the media and saying, hey, this is the entire representation of an entire race or an entire ethnicity, it's crazy.
Oh,
that doesn't make any sense.
Definitely. How long have you guys been a band?
I would say this collective maybe 2.5 years.
Okay, all right, all right. Why did it come about? What was the first inkling, the first idea that happened to be like, hey, let's start this band?
We just me and my brother. I was. This whole thing kind of started. I was in another band. I was in another group, and that fell through. Things went really well, and then it went really sour. And I was not gonna do music anymore. I was kind of over it. I was gonna do a bunch of other stuff, and my brother was not going to let me quit. He was just like, "You're too good at this. Let's just do it together." And then it just kind of like, and then out of nowhere, it just kind of snowballed into what's going on now with the Oxys. It wasn't anything really, really premeditated. We just kind of like built it. And then when it first started, it was just us and a couple friends, and it wasn't full band. We did that for a little while, and then we always wanted the sound to translate and be a full band because of the type of music we were making. You couldn't get the point across with a DJ spinning guitars. You need that live. You need that feeling. So
Right.
we rounded up the troops and got together and made a couple adjustments. Some pieces stayed, some pieces fell off. But this collective here is where we wanted to be in, and it's great.
How long did it take to sort of flesh out how you guys wanted to sound live when you're doing shows?
Years, man. It took years. A lot of trial and error. We played a lot of shows. Always putting on a good show has always been our thing, but just like trying to figure out sonically how to blend all of these things and make them make sense. It's taken years to get to this point. Because at one point it was heavily hip hop and not enough rock, and at one point it was too much rock, and then at one point it was too all over the place. So it was just kind of like, yo, wow. Like even our last EP, Complex the Basic, is the point of that. Like we were taking really, really basic concepts and executing them in a very complex way. So in that sense, we were just kind of like, if you're not indulging in music as far as like loving every aspect of certain things, you're not going to get it. With our music, it's kind of like we figured out that, hey, most of the world listens to music in a very entertainment kind of a way if you're trying to break ground into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And having sounds that are all over the place kind of confuse people sometimes. People use music for relaxation, so a lot of the times they don't want to think within that process too much. Because I hate to generalize. I never like to generalize because we do have tons of fans who love the fact that we bounce in and out of genres and things like that. But figuring out how we wanted to carve this sound and getting here, it took us years, but we're very, very happy and excited. And it wasn't easy. We had a lot of hardships, but we're glad that we pushed through it and got through it, because now it's way more acceptable now to bend genres than it was when we were actually doing it, when we started doing it.
Right. It's kind of weird where like sort of like how those waves go, where it's acceptable to be kind of weird, and then it's not acceptable to be weird. It's like, I remember this is one that always sticks out in my head when I think about albums that just came at the wrong time. Common's Electric Circus. When
that was too ahead of the time.
It was too ahead of its time. It was too weird, and nobody liked it. And I'm like, dude, this is an awesome album. You guys do not understand. This is like very good and very awesome in so many ways, man. And nobody got it, man. I was so heartbroken at that time.
Yeah, Common's one of my favorite artists. What's funny about Chicago in general, like when you think about like I've noticed that a lot of my favorite artists come from Chicago. Like I'm a huge Lupe fan,
Right.
huge Common fan, huge Chance fan, huge like Saba, huge and I was like, one day I just got like, yo, every fucking majority of the rappers I really like are from Chicago. Like I must have a thing with Chicago music, but like, damn, I think Chicago somehow their artists seem to never let the soul of their music die.
Right.
And that always grabs me. I'm always gravitated to it.
Right. I was just in Chicago. It was funny. I was just in Chicago for Bellator, and
That?
yeah, it was for the King Mo Rampage fight.
Yep. Dope.
Yeah. And the one thing, and the funny thing is that I saw an article about this at the same time, because I'm here from Detroit going there, and there was this article was talking about how how really segregated Chicago is.
Oh
And
my God, it's segregated. Like Chicago's like a time warp.
oh my, it is
It's weird because
weird. Yeah.
of how far east it is. Like I wouldn't expect Chicago to be that segregated the way it is.
And it is. It's funny because the places that I went, because I went to all the record stores and everything, and I'm like, like, there's a lot of white people everywhere I'm going. But yet, every time I hear about Chicago, I always hear about what's going on with the shootings in the black community and anything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
literally, all I'm seeing is like white people everywhere I go. And I'm like, this
You
is.
weren't on the south side.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was on the south side. I'm like, this is so. Because here in Detroit, we're to a certain extent segregated also, but we still intermingle with people. It's just at the end of the day, we go back to our little corners. But in Chicago, I'm just sitting there like, whoa, dude, it's like this is kind of crazy, man. How segregated this place really is, man.
Really, really segregated. And those are the things that people are kind of complaining about with Chicago. It's like a lot of the resources and a lot of the things that keeps the city thriving only goes to one side of the city.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing that we're kind of worried about here in Detroit is that they're like revitalizing the downtown area. We're getting a new stadium for the hockey and basketball teams, and they're doing all this stuff, but we don't know if the resources will ever get around to the rest of the city, and it's really...
Yeah, because some things I've heard about Detroit, and even when we went down there when we were touring, I was just like, holy crap, like, Detroit is like, people don't really realize, like, how much, like, the financial crisis damaged Detroit.
Oh.
Like, people really... Yeah, I don't think if you haven't gone to Detroit, I really don't think you understand the magnitude of it. Because I know I didn't. We pulled into Detroit and I was like, wow, we was like, wow, this is crazy. And then we were in Pontiac, Michigan, and I was like, yo. Literally, The Walking Dead. No one was around.
Oh yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Pontiac.
Holy
Pontiac is crazy. Like that's another. Yeah, it's one of those other cities that are just out there that. This is the one thing about the Detroit area, and it's really weird. You can go from a bad neighborhood to a good neighborhood, like in the blink of an eye, and you don't even realize it. It's really crazy, and you will realize you're like, I was just in a bad neighborhood. Now I see mansions, and like. It's really weird.
Like that's nuts. I think that's crazy that you can go in within the same city, within a few blocks of each other, are mansions, and then terrible neighborhoods. Like, huh? How is that possible? That has to be intentional on some level.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's something that we've just like grown to just accept. It's just there, Like most things in Detroit, we just have like lost the sensitivity to, man. It's just there, It's always been like that for our lifetimes, at least.
So it's kind of like what it is now at this point. Like, yeah, you just kind of like just deal with it. It's so crazy,
right.
Dude.
Right. But you're from Queens, New York, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're born and raised there?
Pretty much.
Okay, how's it like growing up in Queens?
It was kind of weird because growing up in Queens, I grew up in a house and all this other cool shit, but I grew up in a really bad neighborhood. My neighborhood, you wouldn't think it's as bad in the daytime, like just like going through it, like, oh, this is cool, this house it's really fun. And it's like, holy shit, it's a pretty bad area. But it was cool, man. I don't denounce growing up in Jamaica, Queens, because it made me who I am. I got a vast understanding of what things are on all kind of levels, and I got to be around in the midst of a lot of like musical shit. So like seeing things, seeing guys from like knowing guys from like Lost Boys or like Onyx and all these other bands, all these other groups that really made it big from my area. 50 Cent, that's the obvious, and Nicki, who started there, and even Waka Flocka, who lived on the north side for a little while, who grew up in the north side and then moved to the south. He's from our area, and just it makes you understand that and believe that, hey, you could actually make it in the music business because you're watching people from the same area you're from do it. So that was the unique part of growing up in Queens, and specifically my neighborhood. and understanding that. But it was cool, strange. Like I went to private school, then public school, then private school, then public school. So it was I got a lot of like different viewpoints of what Queens has to offer, and not to mention it's the most diverse borough.
Yeah.
So you get to mix and mingle with a lot of different cultures.
What are some of the things that you did as a kid, for fun or whatnot?
Shit, from playing ball to mad different forms of martial arts to getting into stupid shit. Like we used to do this thing we called missions, where we would go to backyards and fucking hop from garage to garage to garage to garage and try to do that for blocks. And all homeowners would chase us away, call the cops on us. It was fucking wild, dude. And then realistically, it's funny when you think about it now, because what the hell did we get out of that? It was literally an adrenaline rush. We got absolutely nothing from that at all, other than the adrenaline rush. That is it. Like, oh shit, we got away with it. Oh fuck, we got caught.
Right. When did you first start studying martial arts?
Probably when I was like, I would say my uncle got me involved. I would say I was probably like 10 or 11. And it was first my uncle introduced me into everything through Taekwondo.
Okay.
Which I like Taekwondo, but it wasn't. My uncle always wanted to put me into different things so real life scenarios and real life application could happen, because a lot of the things in Taekwondo are formatted for sporting event situations, whereas a lot of the times when you're using your martial arts, you're not at a sporting event.
Right.
You're not in competition.
Right.
Yeah. So my uncle was like huge. Like he's like I think he's, at this point, I think like almost a 9 or 10 degree black belt in multiple forms of martial arts. So he's the one who kind of like exposed us into that. And my dad knows a few different styles, and we just kind of grew up in a household of like knowing to defend yourself, because we all lived in really bad areas. That kind of like translated really quickly. Like, yeah, you got to know how to defend yourself. And also it taught us discipline too. One of the biggest things was more not being an aggressor in any situation because of what you know, but more so containing situations and avoiding them at all costs. That's one of the things I tell everybody majority of the time when they find out, oh shit, you do mixed martial arts. I'm like, yeah, but it's not so I can run around and beat people up.
Right.
That's not what it's for. I actually avoid fights as much as possible, more than ever. I tell people that all the time. The more I got into it and the more I learned, the less I actually fought.
Right. Yeah. I think it was like a Bruce Lee quote a quote where it said, the best thing about learning martial arts is never having to use it.
Yeah. It's the truth. It's the truth. You really, like, you try not to use it. I put myself in positions all the time. And it's because it makes you so much aware of yourself and your surroundings that you can avoid something before it even turns into anything. You can literally be like, oh, okay, I see where this is going to go. I'm not going to go this way. Or you no longer feel threatened. A lot of times fights aren't happening, but majority of the time because of disagreements. Fights happen because of fear and misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So once someone has a misunderstanding, they're scared. And once fear kicks in, there's two things you do. It's either flight or fight. And if there's enough testosterone flowing around, that's going to make you fight. And if you no longer fear what someone can do to you, or fear in a situation, you handle the situation a lot better. It's the same kind of thing that's going on with like cops shooting unarmed people. It's like I don't believe a lot of them are tyrants and bad dudes. I believe that fear kicks in and they're in a position where their weapon is drawn way too quickly. And that puts you in a position to do something you wouldn't normally do. So it's like with that, it's like, and I know a lot of them are trained but I think the training is really minuscule. It's not that big of the training, what they're doing, because if you put someone in a situation where they're really, really, really afraid, but they know how to handle themselves, 9 out of 10 times they'll diffuse the situation before it gets to what they're fearing.
Right. What styles of martial arts are you trained in?
Muay Thai, Jet Keto, and a little bit of like actual just all out boxing and Taekwondo.
Great. How has learning these martial arts also affected, you as an artist, as a music artist?
Oh, that's just kind of, well, Let's see. I guess it brings a certain level of peace to me, and it affects my writing. My writing is extremely organic, so having control of aggression and all those other emotions allows me to dictate things and write in a certain way that I guess would be different from someone else. Like a lot of the teachings like that are outside of the ring or octagon, however, wherever place you want to be in. It teaches you not to. The outside teaches you how to know yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm also a Buddhist, so learning that everything comes from within gives you a completely different perspective on the external. And with that, I get to write songs from that standpoint, you know, and understanding, like just the level of understanding of oneself allows you to understand everyone else and the things around you.
Sounds good. Do you when it comes to mixed martial arts, like the big companies these days, like UFC, do you also watch the other companies, Bellator, or some of the stuff overseas?
I watch Bellator and one of the what's this thing called again from there's a Thai company who does this overseas. Oh my God, they're a Korean company, and they run this other. They're a lot smaller. Most people don't know about them. I forget the name of this place.
I talk about Ryzen.
Yes, that's what it is. Yep. And I watch those way more than I watch UFC. UFC, obviously, like I love the roots of UFC. Yeah. My favorite thing about UFC was when, like, how it started and they had no weight classes, and it was literally pretty much street fighting.
It was a shit show, man. That was crazy, man. Those first couple, like
it was crazy. Like it was crazy. I'm like, yo, but that's what I mean about it. UFC showed you that, like, application in a real scenario is where most fighters should be learning, because in real life, a guy's not going to be evenly matched in skill and evenly matched in weight to you. That's not a real life scenario. That's a controlled environment. Where UFC, when it started, it was like, holy shit, we're going to put you in an environment, but this isn't controlled at all. Like, you have no idea what this dude is capable of, and then not to mention, he probably outweighs you or you probably outweigh him. It all depends, and that's what I loved about it the most. Now it's more like organized boxing to me. Although I still love it because I love watching dudes like Anderson Silva, Rampage Jackson, one of my favorite. Like, like I love these dudes, but like I think even now, a lot it's gotten so organized that a lot of it's gotten away from the original craft. Ronda Rousey's a really big example of that.
Yeah, there's a lot, especially right now since like UFC got bought for $4.3 billion and bought by people who are into entertainment. That the whole entertainment aspect of it is really, starting to seep its way through, to it all. And you're seeing a lot of the smoke and mirrors of everything, them promoting people who aren't like aren't the top competitors, when you have all these other top competitors who aren't getting their fair shake. And there is a lot of bullshit going around with it.
It was obvious, like with Ronda, I laughed because I knew both Holmes and Nunes, like I knew she wasn't going to beat either one of them. Holmes, like, are you kidding me?
Right.
She's a 15-time kickboxing champion. Like, like you're not standing toe to toe with this girl. Like, let's just be real. And you don't have the skill set to do it. And in parts of me felt bad for Ronda because I'm like, your team put you in that position.
Right.
You're selling a product. You sold a face. She was a really good face for what was going on. She was not. She was beautiful. She's not your typical fighter.
Yeah. A
woman fighter. She doesn't look like your typical woman fighter. So with that, she fell into the what media wants to sell perfectly. Like it was like what you just said. The new owners knew, like, okay, we're gonna push this agenda. We're gonna make this more entertainment than about the fight. But the problem with that is, Ronda's an outstanding entertainer. She's a really good fighter too. But at the end of the day, now the problem is when you get in the ring with other fighters, really good fighters, your Sports Illustrated cover isn't saving you. Your celebrity isn't going to save you in that fucking ring. And we watched it.
Right. And I think the thing with Ronda Rousey, like, is kind of like things that happen a lot of times in music also. When you have somebody who gets so, like, popular and so huge, such a celebrity, in a short amount of time that that they are out of touch with reality, and their team is milking it so much that they don't want to lose their cash cow, so they say what they want, nothing in reality. So that's what happened.
Yeah, and I don't think she was. I think even when she got into the especially the Nunes fight for me, I don't think she was ready. And I don't even mean training ready. I think mentally.
No.
I don't think she was ready. She suffered, and in this day and age, it's crazy because me and my brother was talking about this. Losing in a prize fight, because that's what these are.
Yeah.
Losing in a prize fight in this day and age is way more difficult than losing in a prize fight back in the days. Social media doesn't let you get a break from that. The world pummels you. As the same way the world brings you up, the world pummels you. And she took a huge loss on the biggest stage you could have possibly taken a loss on.
Right. No.
Mentally, fighters in general don't come back after you lose. Your ego's kind of blown, and your confidence is rattled. So putting her in the ring, and people don't think it was quickly. People thought she took too long. I think it was too quick. I think she needed to take, and against the caliber of a fighter, I think she needed to. They were more worried about what it was doing to her image rather than what it was doing to her in general. Waiting. She should have fought in someone that would have helped her build her confidence a little bit more, not just come in there and just destroy her, because now she may never bounce back.
Right. And I would love if she got got a whole new team and got her mind right and did come back, but I don't know if she'll ever come back and fight.
I don't know if that's gonna happen though, because she became, like you said, this really huge entity so fucking fast. It was like one night no one knew who she was, and then the next night she was the biggest star in the world. She's in movies, she's in everything, and I'm just like, holy shit, is this for real? And they were setting her up really well because her fights weren't against fighters that could really cause problems for her. So she rose, and they pushed the narrative, they pushed the story, and the story was outstanding, and everything was going well, and she was the biggest advocate for women and stuff, which is all awesome, but at the end of the day, you're still a fighter. You still need to train. You still need to get better. You still need to focus on your weaknesses and contain them and get them out of the way, because obviously her standing game is her weakness. Very obviously. Obviously. I laughed the other day when I saw her fight Nunes and she lost that way. I laughed at remembering the time when she challenged Floyd Mayweather. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You lost to Nunes like that, and you said you could beat Floyd Mayweather's ass? That dude would pummel you. You don't have the hands for that. Are you crazy? That's nuts. It was just hilarious to watch her say that stuff. And on a different vein, though, I'm kind of excited, to see Conor do it, though.
Right. At this point, when we first heard about this thing, we're like, oh, okay, whatever, blah blah blah. But now that it's gaining ground, it's kind of like, all right, it might be fun to actually see it, and let's get it over with.
It might be fun. I applaud Conor. He's crazy. I don't know why he's stepping in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. That's crazy to me, because he's pulling you into your world. Just like when I first heard the first rumors, I was like, I pray to God Floyd Mayweather don't step into the octagon. He's never coming out. He's not going to come out alive. Conor would destroy him. That wouldn't even be fun to watch.
Oh no.
That would be literally, it'd be like watching a lion pummel a fucking deer. That wouldn't be fun to watch. And just like I'm a little nervous for Conor, because I don't think I think the only thing he has on Floyd in a boxing ring is youth.
Yeah.
I don't think he understands his arrogance could lead him to not fully understand the magnitude of who Floyd is. Floyd didn't lose because other fighters weren't capable of beating him. Floyd always won because he was always extremely prepared.
Oh yeah.
Point blank. As much as he talks shit, he trains just as hard.
Yeah.
So he's going to get the best, and right now his legacy is on the line. Conor's going to get the best boxing Floyd he probably ever could get, and I hope he's ready for it, because he's in a position where he cannot use his technical skills. Conor's not going to be Conor McGregor. He's going to be a boxer, and that's what people don't understand. It's very fucking different. You're going to have to move different. The way you get out of things is different. You're not going to be able to use your hands the same, and there is no fucking ground game. Everything is standing.
It's really weird though that through all this that there isn't more people coming out from the boxing world or the boxing media saying, yo, this is stupid, man. Like, this is like really stupid. And there's even people coming out that saying that Conor might actually have a chance. And it's like, it's just making like the boxing community seem bad, you know?
Yeah, it's selling, and that's the thing. They're more worried about, because this is probably going to be the fucking biggest pay-per-view spectacle ever. Ever. People are going to pile in because so many people want to see each of them lose. Like, so many people want to see Floyd lose. So many people want to see Conor lose. Like, what's funny, the people want to see people lose more than they want to actually see someone win.
Oh, of course. Of
that
course,
is perfect for a pay-per-view. Like, they're gonna make millions, hundreds of millions of dollars off of this fight. And you know, that's what Floyd is about. And I always said Conor's the Floyd Mayweather of UFC. Like, they're smart. Like, those guys rose, and then they're capitalizing on the time where they're at their peak, especially for Conor. For him, this is going to be his biggest payout, win or lose.
Right. Have you been paying attention to what else has been going on in UFC and Bellator these days?
Not too much as far as like Bellator. A lot of the stuff on UFC, because I haven't had as much time as I wanted to sit down and watch a lot of things and really, really dive in, because we've been touring and working on this album and doing all this other crazy shit. So life has taken me away a lot of the time. I haven't really kept up on what's going on with Bellator, but UFC is a lot easier because it's kind of plastered in your face.
Right. Who's been some of the fighters that's caught your eye recently?
Really recently, not really anyone new, man. No one really new has like really stepped out and made me think like, yo, okay, I'm really digging this dude. This dude is doing something for me that I really like. What's this kid's name? I can find this kid's name. He fought. Hold on. I was watching this dude, and he fought. I think he's gonna fight in. I think he fought. What was this dude? What was that fight? Really. It was. What was that? It wasn't John. It was Tate. It was Tate. Who did you fight? He fought. I don't remember. Fuck. John Jones, was it? No, it wasn't. John Jones. Yeah. Other than it was this kid Tate, but other than that, John Jones is probably the dude who, like, out of anyone, like, I kind of like him. I kind of like what he's doing and things that are happening for him. I like him in the octagon. I like the way he fights.
Oh yeah, he's an exciting guy. Just hopefully he can get his demons settled and all that in the past. So when he comes back.
Yeah, I think that what's crazy about his demons. I think that's part of the reason he excels.
Yeah, he just needs to like not get blacked out drunk the night before he fights, that type of stuff.
I know that. Yeah, of course, because that doesn't make any freaking sense. You shouldn't be doing that. But for me, I think that we're seeing, when you see that he's getting blacked out drunk, there's certain things that he has to have. He has a chip on his shoulder for me, I feel like, all the time. Yeah. And a lot of the times where it's kind of like one of those things where the same reason they hate him is the same things that make him.
Right.
And I'd like to see him find a balance to that. Don't lose it. Don't become this saint, but rail it in a little bit.
Right. If he could like find that balance, he has everything to be literally the best fighter in the world. Period.
That. Yeah. Yup. He just got to get all of the I guess the life shit out the way, and all that shit's really difficult, man. I always try to empathize with these guys because at the end of the day, like, we all have our vices and we all have our demons.
Yeah.
I think shaping them, that's even one of like the conversations I was having with someone. Like, I think a lot of these pro athletes and professional athletes there should be something in line to help them deal with that. You throw these guys huge spotlights and tons of money, and a lot of them don't know how to handle that. A lot of them have personal issues that's going on that I guess a lot of their cornermen and a lot of people on their teams are. You have to be aware of. You spend a lot of time with these guys, but not having something in place where fighters can feel like they can turn to someone outside of just fighting, and outside of being a pro. That, hey, like, I'm struggling with this, and don't have to worry about it becoming a public skeptical, or don't have to worry about it shaming them or making them feel weak. Because a lot of fighters have that thing where you're strong physically, and mentally in the fighting space, but outside of that space, if there's any weakness, that it destroys you, which isn't true, because as humans, we're weak. We're all weak at multiple things, something at some point.
Right. Yeah.
And being a pro, you're under the illusion that this guy's not weak ever.
Right. Yeah. That reminds me of, like, this was probably back in, like, 98, 99, like the hip hop scene in Detroit. This is right when Eminem was blowing up. So, like, all of his boys in D12 were getting shine on him. You had people like Royce da 5'9" getting shine on him. You had all these other rappers getting interest from record labels and everything. And what would happen, though, is that it didn't turn any of these people into, we're just going to work hard and make the best music we can. It turned into this thing where they were fighting each other, and guns were being pulled, and there's beefs happening, and there's all this stuff. Is because they were becoming these overnight success and didn't know how to handle it.
That's one of the biggest things. I always say that with, like, pros on any level, from music to fighting to even, like, just regular sports. Like, think about these guys. Like you take a 19-year-old kid a lot of the time, any range from 19 to like 25, and you give them the most money they've ever seen in their life, most money that most average people would never see in their fucking lives, and you slump that in with tons of fame, and you expect them to act accordingly. That is the why. Like, think about, like, I always think about this. Like, I couldn't imagine. One of my good friends is Ryan Grant. He used to be the running back for the Packers.
Okay.
And Ryan, I think about this, like, I can't even outside of Ryan having really good parents helping him to manage the amount of money he was getting. Like, he was getting over I think it was like close to $800,000 every 2 weeks.
Oh, dang.
That's you see what I'm saying? Think about that.
Wow.
Think about you at like 21 with that kind of money.
Jeez. Shit.
Could you imagine, like, and unleashed out into the world with fame and money in that kind of a way? Like, I don't really know many 21-year-olds that could handle that. Like, right. I know I would have been losing my shit. You wouldn't have been able to tell me nothing. Like, like, right. I'm a fucking man. Get out of my fucking face. I'll buy you.
Shit.
You know?
I know, man.
Like, that's just fucking crazy. And that's the magnitude of what all of these guys are dealing with. Like, you're dealing with so much, and then you throw in something like social media where the lights are constantly on. It's the perfect recipe for disaster. So when you got guys like Jones, these guys, like, yeah, we don't want him out fucking drinking, getting plastered the night before a fight, but what can you really tell him?
Right.
Yeah, someone did that the intervention should have happened a long time ago, because I'm pretty sure the signs were there all the way through. Like, that's what I mean about the teams having things in influx within their systems to help earlier on when you start first seeing the signs of something like that. This thing just didn't, like, he wasn't just like a saint and then all of a sudden woke up and just did that. Like,
right.
Like, he probably had a drinking problem from jump. That nobody in the bud, because he's the star. He's the reason why we're getting to be where we at. So we kind of like let him do what he wants to do.
Definitely. Yeah, and all of this reminds me too, like you mentioned, the social media aspect. Do you know the women's MMA fighter Shayna Baszler?
Yes.
I was just listening to a podcast with her, because she's made a transition into to pro wrestling. She's been on the indie wrestling circuit, been going to Japan recently.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and she was talking about how one of the things one of the things that sort of you know, made her transition into pro wrestling was that uh, she had made all these waves in MMA, and then all of a sudden, and was getting all this love from the community, from the fans online. But then when she went into the UFC and pretty much what how she said shit the bed in the UFC, it was like everybody turned on her, and nothing that she did beforehand meant shit to
Mad.
anybody anymore, and it really broke her heart, you know.
Yeah,
So
because
that
a lot of the times they put their all into this, and think about that. Like, and that's why I said about like how devastating it could be, and her going into pro wrestling. Like, look, she's searching for support.
yeah, and
That's pretty what that. That's pretty much what that is. And how are they? Like I said, we give these fighters everything, but the minute they fall, there's nothing there for them.
right. And she said
No.
she was able to find like actually like find something great in being in indie wrestling. As you know, as much as like the internet wrestling community can be like total assholes, keyboard warriors or whatever. Like the ones that actually go out to the shows, go out to the gymnasiums or the VFW halls or whatever they're being held at. Those people are actually really cool and supportive. So there is a definite air of support that the indie wrestling circuit does have for people.
What did you say? What was the last thing you said?
I was saying that there is an air of support that the indie wrestling circuit does have for that fighters that come in and perform well.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Very, very true. And you would hope that other forms, other places would adapt to that and kind of take that model and say, hey, this is something that we should look into. I think it should be something a lot more essential. I don't think it should be left to just the fans and the people who support on the back. And I think a lot of these companies should set things up and just really understand the mental state behind your fighters. Like, I think that plays a huge role in a fighter's lifespan in general within their pro careers. I think if you don't feel like once you lose, your career is over, I think on a standpoint, mentally you'll be in a better space, and I think we'd have we'd have better fighters and for a longer stint of time.
Definitely. Yeah, kind of sidewaying into like to the wrestling. Are you just someone, do you just watch WWE or do you check out the other organizations?
I haven't checked out when it comes to wrestling. I haven't checked out really much of the other organization. I'm mostly a WWE dude and just watch that stuff. Because for me, when it comes to the wrestling, I know there's a lot of way smaller indie kind of programs tons of them. I just never really dove into it and really watched it like that. I'm pretty sure it's awesome. I catch my backyard wrestling shit. I catch shit anytime I can get on YouTube and watch some shit. But it's more so just for me, what I've watched is more so pro wrestling.
Okay,
WWE. With extravagances that I like to watch. I fall in love when it comes to wrestling. It's funny. I fall in love more, and I always say it's my guilty pleasure. I fall in love more with the characters than the actual wrestling skills.
Right.
Because I love the characters are awesome. Dude, really? I was like, you guys they're some of the best actors in the world, and people don't even realize that.
Right. That's pretty much what it's about, man.
Yeah,
it really is, man.
People say that, The Rock, they're like, oh, I can't believe he transitioned into movies. I can believe he transitioned into movies. He's played multiple characters for a very long time. I can believe he did that. He's always had that skill set, and a lot of them do. I think a lot of them could get into movies and do a lot of that stuff. Dwayne is just really smart.
Oh, right. Who are some of your favorites?
Well, damn, some of my favorite wrestlers would go from oh my God, from Mark Henry to fucking shit. Growing up, I really was into watching because my brother loved him, The Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
I always watch back shit on that. His story is extremely sad on that. And I obviously love The Rock because he's got the most swag in the world. But pound for pound, my favorite fucking wrestler of all time is Steve Austin.
Oh yeah, mine too. Like,
Yo,
dude, dude, he made any moment, any segment like 100 times better.
yeah, he would ignite and set things on fire, dude. I love that dude. Like, he's pound for pound. I loved him, and I also for on some weird shit. I really liked Razor Ramon too.
Oh, oh, of course, man. Of course, man. Like, do you remember those the vignettes they used to play during before his debut?
Yep, those shits were crazy. And
Oh my,
another weirdo, fucking Gold Dust was always cool and weird to me. I thought that dude was just weird. Like what? I think, and imagine Gold Dust in this era though. Like imagine him prominent now with all like the LGBTQ stuff, and think about how Gold Dust would be received now.
man. Yeah, if he just debuted like right now, man. Like,
Yeah, right. It would be crazy.
man, it
It would be
would.
crazy. It would be, I thought about that the other day. I was talking to my brother. I was like, "Yo, could you imagine Gold Dust in this world? Like, it would be nuts."
Like peak Gold Dust, man. Like peak, like I'm gonna lick your face in the middle of the ring.
Yes, I'm talking about you. You know what Gold Dust I'm talking about?
And
Like
grope
that
your
Gold Dust
and grope
right
you.
now.
Peak Gold Dust groping right now.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Their sales would spike like no tomorrow. You would want to watch that.
Man, I, I definitely want to. I would watch that, man. I'd still watch that, man.
Oh, yeah, I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Have you been paying attention to anything recent going on in WWE?
Nah, not really. My life has been like completely just like freaking music, touring, and all this other shit. And when you're on the road, you don't get to keep up with anything. I barely got to keep up with any of the other sports that I like to watch. I really like to keep up with anything, dude. It's been crazy. Like now that I'm home for a little bit and we're just gonna be chilling, I'm gonna like back watch it, catch up on so much shit. That's great. I'm gonna binge.
Right. What's
What
tour?
should I
Like,
what,
go ahead.
What have you like? What's been going on? Update me a little bit.
Oh, well, right now the WWE's in a brand split between Raw and SmackDown, and
Really?
they had a draft maybe about 6-7 months ago, but then this past week they had what they called the Superstar Shakeup, where they basically traded about 9 superstars between the brands.
Oh wow.
And dude, and they moved SmackDown to Tuesdays and it's live now. And SmackDown has been an awesome show. It's been a really awesome show.
But why? Why the changes? What's the? I don't get it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's differing reasons I've heard about why it's happening, but Raw is still like Raw what it is, and sometimes and basically recently Raw has been really weird with its storylines where you don't really understand where things are happening, whereas SmackDown was more, I guess, competition based, but there were still storylines based on that, and that's why it was so good. And
Yep.
and from what I'm hearing, like SmackDown has been kind of being used as sort of an incubator to sort of flesh out certain superstars who've come up from NXT, and
Oh.
and kind
Okay.
of it's almost like another development step to bring them up to like the Raw brand almost, where and it's been really good though, man. SmackDown has been killing it, and there's been so many guys. There's so many guys in WWE right now that have come from, like, that were prominent in the indie organizations or been prominent in TNA years ago. Because you have like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, and there's so many. Of course, you have like people like Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and
Owens, I love Kevin
Cesaro.
Owens.
Yeah, you got all these guys that were prominent on the indies before. They're like the main faces of WWE now, and it's crazy.
But I think that's awesome. That's natural progression.
Oh yeah,
I think
definitely.
that's definitely how it should go and how it always should be.
Yeah, for a long time it was like WWE just wanted to like wanted their own people, man, want to make their own like superstars, and to a certain extent they do try to do that, but also we're like we're like in a golden age of indie wrestling right now. There's so much good indie wrestling. There's a lot of great talent out there that you can't ignore the fact that these guys are out there.
Oh, I think they'll rise. They'll definitely rise to the top. Because the one thing about it is, like, the people are going to dictate that every single time. Once someone starts to get to the point of a height of some popularity in the indie circuit, they'll start to put them up. Because at the end of the day, WWE and all the other, like, that shit's all about money. That shit's all, like, driven to, like, just get the cash cow.
Yeah.
So it's like once you start to drive that kind of an audience, people want to see you, that's just going to bump up. So it's great that the indie circuit is doing well and that they actually got really, really good wrestlers there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. To kind of close out this interview, you said you've been touring a lot. You know, how's tour life been?
Oh, tour life's crazy. I always tell people that. Like, it's fun as shit because you're like, it makes you, like, the things you experience. Being able to like, tour the entire country. We've played in 48 of the 50 states.
Okay.
Like, we've been at, and I would say the lifestyle is crazy because living out of a bag for months and weeks at a time is nuts. But being able to see the country in a way that no one, like going through the Rockies, I was like standing near redwood forest trees. Like, those things are humongous. Like, it just changed your perspective of the world. And also, we had the opportunity to tour during this last election season. It's like you really get to see, like, coming from New York, you really get to see how other people live and what's important to them. And then you get to see what's separating the country and the way it's separating. Like, their day-to-day things that we don't realize is valuable to them, that on our side, we're like, what the hell is that? And on their side, they're like, what the hell is that? Just the differences in lifestyles and different cultures. It's really, really cool. Like, that's one thing I could say about tour life and living. But then other than that, you rage. You learn not to party too much because you will burn yourself out. And then you miss your bed. You miss home a lot. Like, your own bed. Even if, like, you're sleeping in hotels, you're doing all this cool shit, but, like, you miss just, like, regular stable shit because, like, being in a different state every day is nuts.
Definitely. What's next for OXYMORRONS?
Right now we are working on the new album Gateway Drug and releasing some singles, doing some content. We're really, really, really owning the whole, like, hip hop and rock space. We're just owning that, and we're owning the pros and the cons that come with it. Like I said early in the interview, it hasn't been easy because we're in this space. We're not expected to be in this space, but it's a space that we're definitely going for, and we're going to own it, and we're going to gun. And I think people are going to start to realize we're going to be a lot more vocal. We're going to be just as vocal as our struggles than on our wins this time. Like, we talk about the fun, we talk about how awesome it is, but we very rarely tell people the stories and the things that we've dealt with that aren't, like, lavish and glamorous and really, really fun. So on this album, there's going to be a balance of them both. So I'm really excited, and it's been awesome just working on it in general.
Great. Yeah, it's been awesome talking with you, man. Where can people find you online?
Oh, at OXYMORRONS. That's OXYMORRONS, and that's across the board on every social media platform. We don't change it anywhere. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that other shit. And it's us controlling it. There's no interns or no other nonsense like that. We kind of, like, keep it real and for lack of a better term. And just do it. So if people want to hit us up, dude, because you can speak to us directly. We are not shy. We have fun. Hit us up about anything.
Awesome, man. Yeah, man. It's been great talking with you.
Yeah, super great talking with you, man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate this. Definitely want to look into doing more stuff like this. This is really, really, really cool, and definitely will be keeping up with your podcast and keeping up with, like, anything that you're doing. Just let me know, update us for real.
Oh, no doubt, man.
When we come back, when we come through to Detroit, man, we got to kick it.
Oh, definitely.
There's too many similarities. We got to hang out, man. You got to either come to the show or we go get lunch, whatever.
Oh, definitely. Okay, so that was my interview with Demi from the OXYMORRONS. He was such a cool guest. I love talking with him. Definitely want to have him on the show again. Now let's talk about some things. And like always, I'm joined with my guest host, Detroit hip hop artist,
Yeah.
MMA enthusiast, pro wrestling enthusiast, and proud Marine, Vstylez. How you doing, bro?
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm alive.
And hey, look, and that's the most important thing, that you're alive. And you know, I knew you were down for a minute, but I knew my boy would be back. So I'm glad you're back. Missed you last week on the podcast that we didn't do. So let's have a little fun right now.
Yeah, it was and the thing was, last week I really wanted to talk about my little road trip that I took, because not this past weekend, but the weekend before that, I did take a little road trip. Went to a couple wrestling events, and went to UFC 210, and it was a really fun road trip. It was just like, I basically went from Detroit to Dayton, Ohio, to Buffalo to Toronto and back, like within a span of a few days. And it was like, it was super fun. It was like, and the weather was perfect during all that time, so it was just like, I got to like really just be on the road, you know. Not to sound like a country music song or anything, but the open road was mine, you know.
Real shit.
So I got to like really just kind of think about things, and it was cool. Like the first thing that I went to was Rockstar Pro Wrestling in Dayton, Ohio. They're having their spring break pay-per-view, and this is like one of my favorite wrestling companies to go to.
Rockstar?
Yeah, it's called Rockstar Pro, and they actually just started airing their weekly TV program that they put together on the Fight TV app. Then once a month they sort of have like an pay-per-view. But seeing them live, actually going to the show, is like a lot better than watching their televised stuff, because they're still not up there with their production value for, like, you know, TV stuff and everything. But when you actually go to the event, it's so much fun, man. And one of the main cats there is Sami Callihan, which many in the WWE universe might have known him as dude, what was his name in NXT? Solomon Crow. He was in.
Oh yeah, that's the dude that they let go. Okay.
Yeah, he was Solomon Crow. Back when he was Solomon Crow, he was kind of like this weird sort of hacker, you know, cyber hacker sort of, you know, character, whatever they're trying to do with him. But they could never really get him over or anything. So he did, you know, he left NXT. And he's actually been one of the dopest, like, cats, like, on the whole indie scene. He's like, the reason I like him is, like, anytime he comes out, you know some shit's about to get fucked up, you know?
Oh, that's always a good thing.
Like, you know, like, the intensity is there, man. You know stuff's about to get broken, people about to get thrown around, man. It's, like, dope. And he had at this event that I went to, he had this match against Zachary Wentz. He's another one of my favorites on the underground. Like, he goes by his sort of catchphrase, or his nickname is like, he's the sickest dude of all the land. He's like, sick dude, you know. I love him, man. And they had a boards match, which they had all these like plywood boards all over the place, and they're basically throwing each other into them all. It was like so much fun. And then there's another, like, one of the funniest matches. There was an intergender match. There's this women's wrestler, Samantha Heights, and she was going against Joey Ryan. He was doing all of his you know, usual, you know, penis dong stick and everything. And that was really super fun. But, like, in all, like, the Rockstar Pro shows are super fun. And if you're ever in the Dayton, Ohio area for They do something like every Wednesday, I think, there, and then they do like one like major event a month. It's always a fun time to go to those. I actually took photos there. I still haven't posted them on the Fresh is the Word website, but I'm gonna post those real soon. The photos that I took at the event, but super super fun, and I always try to make it out there if I can. It's only like a 3.5 hour drive from here, so it's not a big travel, for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that was when I drove. I got a room for the night, and then the next day I drove up to Buffalo for UFC 210. Okay, there's a lot. There's a little bit to talk about outside of just the event. Okay, driving through Ohio and through, Pennsylvania, through New York, when you're going through by the coast of the Great Lakes, it's all really beautiful. It's all really, really beautiful. It was a perfect drive. There was, it was sunny the whole time. It was decently warm that whole drive there. But what was the one thing you told me about Buffalo when I first told you I was going?
Oh, it's industrial, and it kind of reminds you like Detroit.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'm getting closer to Buffalo, and what I'm noticing is when you start getting just before you get to the cities, before getting into Buffalo, you start seeing all these little industrial towns, and next thing I know, it's just miles and miles of these big industrial complexes that are rotting away or for lease. There's nothing in them. I'm sorry, I got a little scared for a minute there. And this was in the middle of the day. I thought I was driving through like a post-apocalyptic like war land or something, man. I thought like mutant people or zombies were about to come out of these places. They looked
similar to Detroit, right?
Yes, but I think even a little worse, man.
Yeah, and because it's more industrial.
Yeah, because it's more industrial.
Of that. Yeah, it's way more industrial. It's almost like the Terminator when the world's turned bad.
Yes, yeah, like that stuff. You're sitting there, and I'm driving through this little town, and I think one of the towns was named like Wakalaka or something like that. And I'm just driving, and I'm like, and I'm not and on some real shit, I'm not seeing any other people at this time too. And this is like middle of the day. This is still like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, evening. And I'm like, bro, man, I'm a little, I feel like some like zombie people are about to come out, man. Cause I'm like, I see these big industrial buildings, they're empty or they're falling apart. And I'm like, dude, man, I gotta get out of here, man.
Hey, look, it makes you wonder. Damn, that's why M signed him, because Buffalo kind of remind me of the D a little bit.
Dude, and then
I'm talking about West Side Gun and Conway.
Yeah, definitely. Right, man. And as soon as you get in, and then like as soon as you get into like Buffalo, where I was going, the part of Buffalo I was going, like the first thing that I see is a casino, and then right next to that's pretty much the auditorium where I went to the arena where I went to see UFC. I'm like, I'm like, this does a lot, It reminds you of Detroit a little bit, but like that little stretch.
Ain't nothing New York, it's about Buffalo.
Right, man. I was like,
nothing New York about Buffalo.
Nothing at all. I was like, man, bro, this is looking a little scary, man. I'm like, I thought some mutant people, man. It looked like, like I think like in like RoboCop when they go like on, I think it was on like Zug Island or something, and there's all that, like they're fighting on there. That's what it reminded me of, man. I thought RoboCop was about to break out, man.
Yes, it's definitely different. It's different, but Detroit and Buffalo are real similar to where, but I'm pretty sure you didn't get a chance to go everywhere, but I'm pretty sure it might be it's some dope spots there. But you don't get a chance to see that because, it's like, wow, man, where am I at? This is New York? No fucking way.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that, man.
Yeah, and because I didn't get time to kind of go around because the part of town where the arena, where UFC is being held at, it was like in a downtown area, but it still wasn't close to a lot of things because for blocks and blocks, all there was like more parking, and then there was like another a small like minor league baseball field. And but there wasn't really a lot of things to go to in walking distance, and I'm like,
right.
I was like, all right, and I didn't even notice this till like after I left, like how close I was to the Canadian border, because I left. Because I left to go to Toronto right after it, and the next thing I know, I see a sign that I'm going.
Crazy. That's another similarity of Detroit, because we right off the Canadian border as well.
Right, they are right on the Canadian border. Like, I didn't even. Next thing I know, I see a sign. I'm like, "You are now entering Canada." I was like, "Oh shit, already? Oh damn."
Right.
But yeah, UFC 210. I had a fun time at it. There's some weird things that happened at it, to say the least. The whole Musasi and Weidman thing.
Who picked Gegard to win? Me.
Right.
I picked Gegard to win, and guess what line comes next? My boy beat him, dog. So, I wasn't surprised at all with that. I called it. I figured it was going to be a fill-out round, the first round. And it's something about that last knockout that Chris Weidman had that is, to me, at least in my opinion, I think it's going to affect him for the rest of his career.
Oh yeah, when Yale just need him to next
that
year.
last knockout is going to affect him because if you look at Chris Weidman, when you look at him, he almost like Forrest Whitaker now. Like one eye is bigger than the other one. Right. Like like one eye looked like 419 and the other one looked like 420. That's what it looked like. And it's hard to recover from a horrible knockout like that. So when he got kneed, he was looking for an escape. He tried to use the rules for his advantage, but then when they came on him and said, hey, look, man, that was legal. We just looked at the replay. Boom, get on up. Now it's, okay, I'm ready to fight. He was on his way of getting knocked out. That was going to happen. Man, when Gegard sees blood, he's going after that.
Right.
So, he can say what he wants to say, but, this correct decision was made. It would have been a KO. He's lucky it was a TKO because he would have got knocked out. Gegard lifted. He lifted them. The first knee was legit, and then the second knee came. He lifted that hand up as the knee connected. Everything was legit, man. Chris Weidman not the same, man. I think he need to reevaluate some things. But I'm happy for Gegard. Hopefully he get another high profile match soon. And, we see where we go from there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then you had DC versus Rumble, and it was exactly how Mo said it was going to happen.
Predicted that too. Yeah, he did. He called the second round too, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically said it's going to
pretty much an exact replica of the same the first fight.
Right. Do you think to a certain extent Rumble might have thrown that fight to a certain extent just to because he knew
I think I think Rumble. I didn't understand the whole wrestling. Like, why would you?
No one did.
Why would you do what he does best?
His team
from the beginning.
left him, man.
Keep distance, throw your hands. Keep distance, throw your hands. Keep distance. Maybe use a blind kick here and there, like you was doing, but keep distance and throw your hands. That's the only way you're going to win. You're not going to out-wrestle an Olympian, period. That's not going to happen. I don't care how good your wrestling may be. The wrestling that you took in high school and whatever collegiate program you were in, it's not going to add up to what Daniel Cormier has accomplished. So,
no.
I was just like, wow, what the fuck are you doing? I think everybody was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, even his corner left him after the fight because they were so mad.
Yeah, that's unprofessional, though. I don't think they should have abandoned him like that.
Right.
But rumor has it, just rumors, he's going to be working for the Los Angeles Rams in some capacity.
Yeah.
At least what I heard. He's not going to be a football player, but he's going to have a cake job, from what I understand. Good for him. If he can make more money doing that than taking shots and not have to worry about the horrible Reebok sponsorship money,
right?
Then why not?
Definitely.
Go for it.
And he's had an amazing career in MMA, so if he has an awesome opportunity now to, somewhere else, go do it, man.
He definitely, in my opinion, just looking at that, and I looked at that fight several times, it was almost like he was looking for a way out. He wanted to get this shit over with.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what happened. Second round. Mo called that shit off. He called it out. He predicted it. So I said the third, he said the second. So it went down in the second round. So good win for DC. I really hope he fights, Jimmy Manua?
Yeah, Manua. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he fights him next. I hope John Jones takes he needs to take a quick, he need a match back. He need what's the word that I'm looking for? He need a
tune-up fight?
He need a tune-up fight. And I don't think getting in there with DC automatically, will get him that belt, especially for those like me who think that he's already, I look at John Jones, like he's tainted.
I don't know, man.
I look at him like
it looks like the word around
his whole career.
It looks like the word around the MMA water cooler is that they might be doing Cormier and John Jones in Anaheim for 214.
Yeah, July 29th, but he still has to get reinstated. He come off suspension, but he got to get reinstated. And is he training right now currently for a fight? Nobody knows anything. So,
right.
I think he need to take a tune-up fight. Why not fight Alexander Gustafsson? Y'all still have, unsettled business. I don't think it's fair to reward a dude that gets in trouble. Right now, honestly, I hope John Jones does well, but I still just, from my perspective, I don't think it's fair to reward a dude that has constantly shown that he's going to be getting in trouble. Every time you get his dude a pass, he fucks it up. So, again, I just don't think he deserves a title fight right now. Not the first fight.
Nah.
And it just letting you know. It just lets you know that UFC is searching. They're searching for stars, and not stars, but they're searching for people to get their shit back, rating wise on point, and financial wise on point, man. Because we talk about John Jones, but at the end of the day, we really care about him being in that cage. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about him. You take fighting away from John Jones, nobody would give a fuck. That's just keeping it 100. But you put him in that cage, I would be a hater to say that he's, not, just from what we've seen him do in the past, the GOAT. But now, with, him popping, have you been on steroids this whole time? You just don't know.
Right.
And then if you think about it, when he fought OSP, John Jones looked like a bum. I always said you put him in there with somebody his same size and same height, he's not the same John Jones that dominates the smaller fighters. He's just not. And if you look at film on it, it's the reality. OSP is not, I mean, he's a good light heavyweight, but he's not, especially when we've seen from John Jones, he's not on John Jones' level. But, post USADA coming in, John Jones looked like a different dude. He couldn't even knock that guy out.
Right.
So, and we've seen Jimmy knock that guy out with one punch. So, I just think, maybe we need to see him again. Maybe we need to see him in a tune-up fight, man. But rewarding that dude with a title shot on July 29th makes UFC look extremely desperate. And what message does it send? Here it is, you dog fucking Matt Riddle for smoking weed, and he had an unblemished record in UFC. You cut him, get rid of him, but yet, if it wasn't for other things involving John Jones, you'd probably still be hiding all his faults. And rumor has it that he hid up under, a cage. When USADA surprised him. We all heard that story. Make you wonder, man. All that shit make you wonder. Has he been a clean fighter this whole entire time? Dude has legs like a chicken, but you could deadlift 600 pounds? Make you wonder, man. Look at them legs, bro.
Right.
Look at them legs. And I used to root for John. I used to talk to John Jones on Twitter when didn't nobody know who John Jones was. And everybody became John Jones fans after win after win. And, I've seen that dude change. I watched that guy change, at least from the social media aspect. He went from a humble dude to this Hollywood dude. And, I'm all in for, you it's like Ronda Rousey, you show one side and then you have a big fall and you kind of be like, okay, well, maybe this person got a little humble, maybe I'm, because you want to see a feel-good story. You want to see a turnaround story.
Right.
You do that for John Jones again, and what he do? He go out and hit a pregnant lady and, all this other shit. Okay, boom, second time. Come back, okay, damn, I want to see him do good again. Come back, oh, shot at redemption. Oh, this is another feel-good story. So we done fucked up twice. He gonna be good, blah, 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 blah. Boom. You pop for, although it wasn't steroids, but what you pop for is when you cycle off steroids. That's what you pop for. And when people say USADA found me clean, no, they didn't find you clean. You still got the maximum sentence of what they could give you. They gave you a year. So they gave you a year. You're not clean. So who knows? If I was, the Oracle right now, just on the past couple of years, do I think John Jones is gonna fuck up again? You want to say you want to say no, but history shows he's a fuck up. So You know, I hope he doesn't. But you know, what message is UFC showing by rewarding this dude a title shot? Like, it's similar to giving Ronda Rousey a title shot after taking a year off. What other fighter can do some hoe ass shit like that?
Right. Definitely.
You take a year off, then all of a sudden, boom, hey, your first match back is for the title. But you can't give Lou Rockhold a rematch. Rockhold a rematch of his shit. He deserved a rematch. He deserved a rematch just on the fact that Bisping wasn't the dude he was supposed to fight. You know, but yet, you know, everything is politics and bullshit, man. So it is what it is.
Yep. To kind of close out my road trip story, after UFC 210, I went over to Toronto, where I know a few people over there, so I got to hang out with some of my friends. But I got to see another wrestling promotion out there called Smash Wrestling, and this was the first time that I've been out to see Smash, and it was such a good show. There was people like who are known on the underground, like on the independent scene, like Jeff Cobb, is also in Lucha Underground, plays the Matanza character, and and then Michael Elgin was there, which Michael Elgin actually does. Every time I see him, he's another person. Every time I see him at a indie wrestling event, I'm like blown away by his matches. He was in they were both in a 4-way match with a couple of Smash Wrestling homegrown talent, Tariq and Brent Banks, and that was such a good match. And from top to bottom, this is another great organization. The main event was a no disqualification match between Jimmy Havoc, who he was like in TNA Impact for a little bit. He's really known in the undergrounds. He's a British wrestler, and he was going against Tyson Dux, who he was a part of the Cruiserweight Classic, I believe, and that was actually really dope. But like, Smash is actually is another company that is really good at sort of making some of their own homegrown talent, and they were able to showcase it at this event. So anytime you're in Toronto and there's a Smash Wrestling event going on, like definitely try to check it out. They're having another one next month in May, and I believe Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be there, and I forget who else is going to be on the card, but it looks like it's going to be a dope card.
Mo just texted me, and I know he want to talk. I told him, I said, man, we doing this podcast now. We can't be interrupted. So go ahead.
You tell him. Tell Mo. Yeah, you tell Mo. We can't be interrupted.
Real shit.
But yeah, that was the conclusion to my road trip, and it was a really dope road trip. I got to think about a lot of things, have some time away from everybody and everything, see some good wrestling.
Ain't that the best?
Right.
No, that is the fucking. Oh my god, man, that's the one, baby. That's the one. When next time you well, a couple of things. When next time you plan on going to Toronto?
I don't know yet, because right now I'm kind of like not like planning anything, because I have this idea of like quitting my job, so so I'm not trying to like spend money right now, and I'm going to try to figure out things from that. So I'm not sure about when I'm going out of town again. So I don't know.
Well, I want to do some I want to do some of that independent shit with you, man. As far as get on the road, just keep me posted.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, for right now, I don't know yet because, to be honest, I wanted to quit my job last Thursday, but then I got sick.
I'm just reading some breaking shit, and it says, I'm glad you're feeling better though. I'm reading some breaking shit, and it's saying looks like John Jones go get the shot. Well, I tell you, man,
Dude, tell you.
That's that bullshit. That's that bullshit, man.
And see again.
Well, I just hope.
See, you have stuff like that happening, and then you have someone like Demetrius Johnson who just keeps on winning and defending his title and can't get any respect even from the company itself.
Oh man, I'm mad about that too, bro. He deserves to pay that. Now you want to talk about goats? That dude deserves his just due. And the fact of the matter is, it's not his fault. He fights in a division that people don't care about. It's the UFC that should promote him just like they try to promote their so-called stars who wind up either overrated or drug addicts and felonious people hitting other people with cars and breaking their arms. But they want to promote that, but you don't want to promote the good. He's a jewel. DJ should be celebrated.
And what's crazy is that DJ went on his Twitch channel and asked his fans after the ratings came out in regards to his fight night, if they even saw a commercial for that fight night, and most people said no. They had no idea he was even fighting.
See, and that's bullshit. How are you going to have that man fighting the following week, but don't have promo from a pay-per-view saying, hey, this is what's going on next week? It's like, man, come on, dude. Come on, man. We see that shit you doing, son. That shit ain't cool. It's not cool. So I root for DJ, man. I don't want DJ to win. But UFC, we just getting to a point now to where the landscape is changing in the game, and I say this shit every week. Organizations are catching up. Fighters want to be happy. Fighters' windows are small. They want to get paid. They want to have dope fights.
Right.
If you don't want the president all up in your commercials, all up taking the interview time, all sucking up to their so-called A1 fighters, come to Bellator.
But the funny thing was is just before the fight night, the UFC on Fox last week, the UFC finally did one little thing with DJ that made sense. They did some sort of promotional campaign that had something to do with his love of video games, and
yeah, but how many of us knew? But look,
but still,
for real motherfuckers that knew, DJ only had one fucking sponsor, and that was Xbox, and he rocked that shit proudly on his shorts way before Reebok had even come along.
Right.
So you're fucking Johnny Come Lately. Everybody knows that we know he, like, you just now want to talk about that. I'm not.
Right. It was funny, like when that came out, I just saw all these people like from the various MMA writers going, "Oh, now you guys want to try to link Demetrius to something that people know about? Oh, you want to do it now?"
And that's how, look, I didn't even know people were saying that, but that's how I took it. That's how I felt. Like any real, true fans know their fighters like, we know their sponsors, we know that shit. So don't try to present some shit like this, the news of the new news, because it's old news when it's years and years later. That shit is years later. Fuck out of here.
Right. Another thing from that same night was the Jacare fight against Robert Whitaker. Yo.
Man, look. I really don't know what to say. I didn't give Robert Whitaker a chance, and he's a good fighter. I just felt like Jacare would get him to the ground and do what he do to everybody. That didn't happen this fight. Whitaker had good hands. His hands set up everything else. Jacare got to a point to where he was worried about getting hit and worried about, the stuff that was affecting him, to where the all-around game of Whitaker just was super superb, man. So kudos to him for proving me wrong, because Jacare is one of my favorite middleweights.
Right.
I just think Michael Bisping is like a bitch for he one of them old he one of them type dudes. But dude, you defended your belt against a 47-year-old Dan Henderson, 45-year-old. Get the fuck out of here with you and your whole ass opinions, because whoever you face first is going, and no diss to Dan, but and Dan was in his 30s. He was pulling some shit out his ass in his 40s. But I still think he won that fight against Michael Bisping, the last fight. But you did get a logo out of that motherfucker. That's a beautiful thing. That logo of yours, like swinging down like you about to hammer some shit on the ground, that's courtesy of Michael Bisping. So I just think Michael Bisping is an immature champion, man. You want to nan. Like Jacare is one of the most classiest dudes. Win or lose, you never hear no excuses. You never hear, if he felt like he won a fight, most fighters are going to say, I felt like I won that fight. But you never hear him say any disrespectful thing, and he still hadn't said anything disrespectful about Bisping. But Bisping comes out, and you want to say some slick shit about Jacare, and you want to try to shit on his fans. You want to troll them. Then you come out and say, I think Robert Whitaker deserves that fight. I'm not that fuck ass YOLO now. I'm not. First off, now USADA did clear Yoel Romero of the so-called doping, and they gave him a lesser suspension than what they gave John Jones. So what they gave him was like, look, be more careful, but we got to give you some. Boom. They gave John Jones the max. So it's two total different things. You still call this man a cheater, and he ain't never been caught.
Right.
Even under USADA rules. If USADA come out and say, this is what happened, boom, 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 then you take that for what it's worth, because they're not going to come out. And if they feel like they're at fault in any means, they're going to, they're going to lessen the suspension. In his case, he got, I think, 6 months. John Jones got the max. So they never admit, even when Mo had his shit, they didn't give Mo a year. They gave Mo, I think, 6 to 9 months or something like that. Because, it was something that had just popped on the list, and he had been taking it for a long time. He had been taking that shit for years. Like the list switch up from week to week, and it's up to you to know what you're putting in your system. So, anytime there's fault on, or they feel they accept an explanation, you're gonna get something. Some people like Chris Cyborg, they didn't give her anything. Okay. Mo, they gave Mo a couple months. Romero, they gave, a couple months. John Jones, they gave the max. That says something. So this dude ain't never been caught, but, he wanted to talk all this shit to this dude. And, like, dude, I'm just looking at you like, dude, basically what you're doing is you're still running. And you want to use this as an excuse to, So good for Robert Whitaker. I'm glad he on the come up. Get yours, baby.
Right.
I think Jacare will bounce back. Hopefully he can get his his plans together and get back on a win streak, and we can see what can happen. But the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, whoever is being faced next, let's cherish that moment because he's not going to be the champion. So if it's GSP, Robert Whitaker, Yoel Romero, Gegard Mousasi, like it's a long list of assassins that's going to take out. Well, Michael Bisping won as a payday. So let's just hope that he fight GSP, get them couple millions, put them in his pocket and retire. And maybe we won't have to hear the arrogant prick again.
Like getting back to Robert Whitaker, I became a big fan of his in his previous fight when he TKO'd Brunson, and
I know, right?
And then with this fight, just at the beginning with between him and Jacare, I just noticed that Whitaker just seemed a lot looser in the fight, and I'm like,
his hand speed was whew.
Yeah, and I was just like, ooh, I don't know if this is gonna come easy for Jacare. So I've been very impressed with Robert Whitaker over these past couple fights that I've caught from him.
What they call him, Bobby Knuckles?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I like that.
That's pretty appropriate. Me too. I like that too, Bobby Knuckles.
I like that. So, I mean, hopefully Robert Whitaker gets a title shot in the near future. I'd be down with that. I would definitely be down with that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I like him as a fighter, man. I really hope he succeeds. Just blew me away how he went through Jacare. I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was crazy.
Man, I see that shit coming. My boy hit me up like, that's because you don't know about Robert Whitaker. Mike, get my boy Mike, get my boy Go Getter, a quick shout out. But I'm like, man, I know about Robert Whitaker, man. We are like, for those of us who love this, you watch it and you know the fighters. I just honestly didn't think he had a chance against Jacare. Name somebody who gave him a chance, probably other than people in his camp and his family. Right. I thought Jacare was just go crocking like he do everybody, and then give me that crocodile shit at the end. That's what I thought. I thought I was gonna be rocking some gators down, Good for Robert Whitaker though, man. You can't take nothing away from just on the outside looking in from what I've seen. He's a good dude. So you cheer for guys like that. You celebrate guys like that, man. So good for Robert Whitaker.
Definitely. All right, turning the tables onto the world of pro wrestling. We are in the middle of the WWE Superstar shakeup, and I have no idea what's going on. I don't. Okay, I try to be very, optimistic, but I feel like they've messed up the SmackDown Live brand.
Oh man, dude, look. When I seen who's all involved in the match, the first thing I said is, why the fuck is Jinder in the match? Why the fuck is he in a number one contender anything match? You've been a jobber your whole career. You've been Steve Lombardi. You've been Barry Horowitz. You've been Quick Draw Rick McGraw. You've been Iron Mike Sharp. You've been Coco Beware. You've been
Yes.
like a jobber your whole fucking career. You've been SB Special Delivery Jones. You've been those people. How the fuck you come up and all of a sudden you're now the number one contender to like, are you fucking kidding me? And there's no, like, you can't fool the fans. We know. So it's like, what the fuck angle? First thing I thought, I was like, man, what the fuck's going on? Why they pushing this dude like this? 2 days later, you see that they got some shit to do with India and businesses over there, and the dude that they just promoted within the company. And it's like, man, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? So y'all gonna get him a push just because, he's from a certain country?
Right. And
Fuck out of here with that, man.
And it makes no sense too, because it's the number one contender for the belt that Randy Orton currently has, and Randy Orton already has a match at the next pay-per-view with Bray Wyatt, who Bray Wyatt is now on Raw, and it's like, so when is this match supposed to happen? And who's gonna be the champion at that time? Are you gonna hold this? For me, I hope by the time this happens that somehow they do some sort of storyline where he loses his number one contendership to somebody else. I don't know, but
I don't see it because it's an angle.
It's weird.
It's
man.
an angle. It's an angle, and it's like, wow, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me, man? Like, wow. I don't buy it. Wrestling fans that know what the drill is, they don't buy it. We ain't buying that shit, man.
The thing was, just a couple months ago, the WWE belt was the coolest belt in the company. You had AJ Styles with it for a while, even had Bray Wyatt for a little bit, but it was the coolest belt in the company. Now it's like, this is happening? Like, what the hell?
Right.
And you have...
How does Randy feel about this shit? Like, really?
Right. And then you have AJ Styles going to the US belt that Kevin Owens now has. That's actually a more...
I was about to say
cooler thing than that.
That would be more cooler. I think we would look. It would be similar to John Cena and the U.S. Open weekly type shit. I think it gives more credit. It gives more credence, to that championship, man.
Right.
So, I mean, and those were good days. Back in the NWA days and back in the early WWE days when we actually looked at the Intercontinental Champion as like the real champion, fuck what they.
But right now, the U.S. belt and the Intercontinental belt have been so ignored for so long that you forget who even had it for a while,
Yeah, man, you got to make them belts important, man. So. That's basically what's going to happen. They're going to make them belts important again, and good for them. The belts need to be important. They're part of history.
Right. So, yeah. So it should be pretty fun with, seeing, like, Kevin Owens with the U.S. belt and having the whole, like, I'm the face of America thing is actually really hilarious.
Oh, that's funny. Is he gonna come wearing suits every week?
I hope so. But
Kevin Owens going on SmackDown is not necessarily a bad idea. I can rock with that.
No, I'm fine with that. And and the fact that like sort of AJ Styles is in the mix on that I think that's gonna be really cool. With bringing some attention to that U.S. title.
Yeah, but to hear him not be mentioned in anything world title-wise is like he should always be in the world title picture.
Right. But right now,
the beauty of it is we know that this time next year we're gonna see him and Nakamura at WrestleMania.
Oh, dude, yeah. And I do kind of like how the way that they're building up Nakamura though on SmackDown. They're doing it a little bit of a
Mhm.
slow thing. They haven't had any matches. They haven't had any like shown him do any real moves or anything. They've been sort of presenting his his character and his sort of his swagger first, and I like that.
Oh man, when you sitting up, me and Mo be talking about politics all the time, man. And being from here, I don't mean to switch up, but
Yeah.
we talk politics all the time, and being from here, certain people are, you don't talk about certain people. You don't say nothing bad about him. You don't say nothing bad about Kid Rock. And he's like, yeah, your boy at the White House today was Sarah Palin. So he sends me a link, and I'm looking at the link. It's fucking Ted Nugent, Kid Rock, and Sarah Palin.
Yeah, I saw
I'm
that.
like, I said, man, you would send me this whole ass shit, man. But you spend years vouching for him. I remember when I'm like, dude, certain people hear you this, I mean, you certain people, I love Paradigm. That's my man.
Right.
He works, because of that dude, man. So it's hard for me to,
Right.
but then when you see this type shit, it's like, man, but, hey, to each his own. Funny.
Dude, right. I think that picture was inevitable, man. Like we were about to see.
Oh, yeah, me too. Hey, look, it's some new shit to be happening, man, and I didn't pick up on it until this week. For the last 4 or 5 weeks, when Bailey come on, and now I expect it. But whenever Bailey come on, man, I get this phone call from this motherfucker, man, and he loves Bailey. I'd be like Mo loves fucking Bailey. I'd be like, dude, she's like fucking John Cena, man. She is fucking John Cena of the women, man. I was like, I don't want to fucking hug and da 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 da. He look. When soon I see the phone call, I bust out laughing because I only get that call during Bailey's time, and it's like, dog, what the fuck is up with you and this whole Bailey shit?
Wait.
Fuck all them hugs, man. Fuck that.
How can he talk trash about Cena and my man being a big Cena fan when he's a big Bailey fan?
Hey man, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I get John Cena a pass, man, because I actually, I remember him, when he first was wrestling in tights and boots and all that shit,
Right.
man. And then he started actually coming to the ring freestyling. You knew he was freestyling because he would always say some shit that let you know that, this is some real shit. Even if it was prior wrote, it was wrote for that particular occasion. So it came off real dope. And, any guy that grants wishes to kids, man, and like, that Make-A-Wish stuff, that's real dope, man. And you can learn a lot about a person. Some people may do that for publicity, but when you see he's done it, a gazillion times over compared to a lot of other people, it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So I like John Cena, and my son likes John Cena. So I'm not, I don't like John Cena today, but he okay with me as far as like all the fruity colors and all that stuff.
Right, and you do actually notice the void on the program when John Cena's not there.
You said what?
You do actually notice the void on the WWE programming when John Cena's not there.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely it's different when he's not there, and when he comes, it's a different environment. The environment, like everything changes. So, you know, I get why he gets the liberty that he gets, and I understand why people hate on him and stuff like that, man. So, you know, yeah, I like John Cena, man. He entertains me. Wish he would go back to rhyming though, but he ain't gonna do that.
Oh no.
And then Bump speak up for him, man. But, you know, he speak good about, you know, John Cena, man. So, you know, that's Bump my man. So, you know, he recorded it, you know, in Bump Studio. He recorded his whole album at Bump Studio.
Yo, we need to get Bump on this podcast sometime, man.
Oh, dude, we'll work that out. I'll give him a call, and yeah, we'll do that. That shouldn't be a problem.
Oh yeah, 'cause we definitely have to hear some John Cena stories, definitely, along with other hip hop stuff that you know.
Oh, indeed,
definitely,
man.
I know.
That's
he's
my guy, man. He got a new album coming out called Pop Duke. And I'm on there. It's produced entirely by my man Knots. I'm on there. My man Big Gov is on there. You know, we all on the record with Bump. It's, you know, don't get it twisted, man. You know, we seasoned. We always gonna do this hip hop shit, man. But I'm looking forward to hearing that. I'm looking forward to hearing Bump's OXYMORRONS project that he got with Trick and Tretch from Naughty by Nature, and that's produced also entirely by Knots.
Dang.
Yeah, it's some dope shit about to come out real soon, man. People need to stay tuned. But yeah, I'm gonna get Bump on here.
Oh hell yeah. All right, man. That's about it for this week's podcast. Like always, Vstylez, tell them where they can find you.
You can hit me up on Twitter at the /VSTYLEG. Same thing with my Facebook, /VSTYLEG. My verified Facebook page is /official Vstylez. Common spelling of official, VSTYLEG, one word. And you can hit me up on my Instagram at the /VSTYLEG. Know that I got Thought Melon coming out real soon, and I'm going to have some dope shit for everybody. And, yeah, y'all stay classy.
All right, man. Thanks for listening. See y'all next week. All right, bye.
Peace out.
Fresh is the word.